So there's been maybe 5 people or so get in touch saying that they've enjoyed these Cameo episodes. So that's more than enough for me to carry on with these. So here's a few more. If you want one of these, Cameo, if you don't know, if you haven't figured it out yet, Cameo's a website where you can order a video from me. I'll do it for you, for a mate, for a family member, maybe, just for some bloke down the shop, mate. Phil, I'll do it for a bloke down the shop, mate. Yeah, fucking let's say, but for argument's sake, Dave down the shop, right? And he works down the local greengrocers, and you get on with him quite well, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking, for the sake of a tenner, it's his birthday next week, I'll get you to ramble at him and keep talking to him. I'll do that, mate. I'll do that happily, mate. Cameo.com/worldaroundyou. Anyway, well, let's get the first one on the go here for you. So this one is to a girl who's turning 14. It's from the dad. So obviously the dad thinks it's acceptable. He must have seen my videos. He must know what sort of stuff I'm going to say, what I talk about. I try my best to really, rein it in. I don't say cunt or out like that to her. I don't really say or do anything rude, I wouldn't have thought. I swear a bit, obviously, as was pointed out to me. Interesting, right? Interesting point about this. The fella that was recording a little documentary and was filming me for a few days, a few weeks ago, which you'll be aware of if you've joined my Patreon, and you'll have seen the vlogs, because I was keeping a vlog through it, because I keep a vlog on Patreon just near enough every day, what I've been up to, what I've been making, what I'm thinking about. It goes along with the daily updates and stuff, which are exclusive podcasts. He was there when I was recording this one, and he picked up on it. Fucking hell, you swore a lot in that, didn't you? You're saying it's for a kid and you're going to watch your language. And I didn't think it was that bad, to swear like I was. Like, that's just alright swearing, isn't it? Especially if you're turning 14. They're going to be hearing worse and seeing worse on the internet and at school, innit? And, the dad must know, he makes stuff out of, rats' arseholes and that. He's like, I think it's mint that a dad's took an interest in a life enough to go out of his way to find me on Cameo, to think that this is a great thing to get for her, mate. I think that's fucking well good. Anyway, here you go. It's a little bit of an happy birthday one, really. It's nearly 3 minutes, it is 3 minutes long, but it's a bit of an happy birthday one. But you've also got like a bit of a ramble at the end, and I think you'll find it kind of endearing, mate. I think it's got some funny elements to it, so I've included this one. Here you go. We are. So what they told me about this one was that they're turning 14. They're hanging out with their friends for a birthday, and they said, "Can you wish her a happy birthday from her dad, Aaron? And Millie loves your rat pencil cases with the pencil sharpener. If you could show her one, she'd like that." So I did. I showed her the fox head and that as well, and a little bit more for the money. Hopefully they enjoyed it. But see what you think of it. Right, Millie. Happy birthday, mate. Your dad, Aaron. I don't know if that's he hasn't put it in marks in it, but it is odd that he's telling me his name. Unless you have 2 dads, which you might, which I'm not knocking. He wanted me to show you the pencil case because apparently you like it. Now, I keep mine in here, so it keeps it safe. Plus, it's a way of trying to convince Aaron, your dad, to go and buy you one of these off my website. And there's a train going past. It's really fucking annoying. Every time I try and record anything, there's a fucking train, mate. Here's the rat pencil case, and I apologise for my language there, because apparently you're only just turning 14. But I imagine if you've been watching my videos, then your parents have already done you wrong by allowing that to happen. So you can open it up, and then Millie, you can shove a pencil in its arsehole, you sharpen your pencil like that, make a mess of my freezer. But unfortunately, I don't have any of these on the website at the minute. So Aaron, your dad, if he wants to treat you, properly treat you with something you can remember and hold on to, you might want to get you one of these, mate. Or maybe even one of these. Probably not this one I'm covering up there. That's probably no good for you. Probably not the ones underneath you. I'll stand on this side. Any of them, really, probably be alright for your bedroom. Most people might have a picture in the bedroom of a celebrity, maybe, in the past they might have had Keith Chegwin on the wall. Maybe a nice poster or a shrine to Bruce Jones from Coronation Street when they were growing up, teenage girls and that up and down the country. I don't know what sort of fella or person a teenage girl admires now. So maybe go for a bit of taxidermy, innit? Keep your parents guessing, mate. So they can't quite work out what it is you're into or who it is you're into. Maybe make it so that you've got to have a special sort of conversation with people in a few years' time, where they're like, look, we think it's a bit weird that you've been putting pictures of dead animals on your wall. Why don't you have a picture of of Harry Styles or Graham Norton on the wall, you know. And then you can be like, well, I just like dead stuff, mate. I like rats because of that guy that makes stuff out of rats. I'm really watching what I say, Emily. I'm trying not to be too crude or say anything. I don't normally think as I'm speaking on these, but I'm being very cautious as to not tell you to do something mental because I'm very aware of how old you are. This is probably the youngest person I've done a cameo for that I know of. So I don't know if this has been funny. I don't know if it's been any good. I hope you enjoyed seeing the rat's arsehole up close. I'll get you the right up there, like eye to brown eye if you like. But fucking happy birthday, mate. I hope it's nice. This has probably been just as awkward as it was when I was 14 talking to 14-year-old girls, if not more awkward now, to be honest. Probably a bit weirder now for me. But anyway, happy birthday, mate. You'll notice as well, I start every video now with a few squeaks from the fox, and that's because a little trademark in one way, but also I noticed that the software or whatever seems to cut off your first few words, even if you was to leave a pause. So I thought if I keep doing the squeaking, then it's registering noises happening, and then it will start keeping the recording, and it seems to work. But there you go, that's a little birthday one. And the next one we've got coming up is it's another birthday one. And I've had to hold back on this one because this one was ordered a while back, but I've held off because they actually told me when the birthday was. So this is for someone called Ethan, aka the Crabman, and I think you'll quite like this one. So what I got told with this one was when his birthday was. That's why I've held back on it. I didn't want to ruin the surprise and that. Apparently they're turning 20, and they get asked on it, you know, automatically what are they doing for the birthday, and it says not sure. They're probably going to get another tattoo, and then they're moving out of home so they can go to college. And something special that we'd like you to know about Ethan, aka Crabman, is that he loves your TikToks and shop. He's fixated on crabs for years, so nicknamed the Crabman was born. That's where the nickname Crabman comes from. Sorry, it's the grammar there. They're writing a comic book about a Grim Reaper. They love a bit of manga, anime, and music. So, not loads to go off, but I just fixated on crabs, mate, I think, if memory serves. Now, this one's a bit of a lengthy one, getting close to 7 minutes here, so I imagine I got really fucking carried away somewhere. But see what you think, mate, yeah. I'm hoping that looked like that with my head. Happy birthday, Ethan. Oh, Crabman. Apparently you're turning 20 according to your mum, Charlie, so just a little birthday message, mate. I say little, I might get lost in this. Apparently you're properly into crabs. So what I've done is I thought I'd show you as much of the crab stuff that I've got that I can remember. Now I used to make Santa Clauses as well, which were little Santas, that's with shitloads of crab claws coming out of them. But I've not been able to make them for a while. But I do have some of these in at the minute. These are called Nancy crabs, because obviously you'll know about crabs. You're going, that's not a Nancy crab, that's a fiddler crab. Which is, it is a fiddler crab. But a fiddler is like a jovial term for someone that likes to fuck children. So it's for like a paedophile, so I thought Nancy crabs, mate. And then the sort of crab he might prey on, obviously would be one of these little ones here, because he's not going to want to go for one of the big crabs. So it's like a crab in a, well, it is a crab in a necklace, it's not like anything. I've also got crab pots though, mate, which are these. Just little crab claws in little glass jars, little glass pots. These were some of the claws I was using to make the Santa Clauses. These were some of the smaller claws that were a bit too small to come out of there. But there's loads of stuff about crabs and that though, isn't there, and crustaceans. I'm a bit suspicious of crustaceans myself. But I don't want to always just get into... I don't want these videos... This is only my second one of these, I'll be dead honest with you, Ethan. And I don't want all these videos to just be me rambling about how much I don't trust prawns and that, and how much I don't trust the shrimp. Or like the fact that I think all of the whales in the world should be killed and removed from the waters to bring down the sea levels and that. Because that's got nothing really to do with you. That's more of a me problem, innit, to be honest. But I have gone through my books, because you probably know I've written 4 books. And turns out I've gone about crabs a lot in them. So we got this first one here. This is from The More You Know, which is just a book of fake facts, fake lies and that. A spider crab shares more DNA with a terrapin than it does with a hermit crab. And there, if you look at that there's a terrapin sharing some of its DNA with a spider crab by taking it from behind. Then we've got another one, another crab section, so I had to go through this, especially for you, mate. Whilst lobsters are not strictly crabs, but we can argue that lobsters are like a fancy crab, aren't they? Whilst lobsters have the ability to regenerate, it's been noted by some marine biologists to impact on their overall lifespan. For every limb they regrow, their expected lifespan drops by an average of 5 years. This statistic drastically increases if they're cut in half. And there's a lobster that's been chopped in two. Another one. We'll go for the last one in here, which is just a little picture of a crab within this. There's a little picture of a crab at the bottom there, so I thought I'd show you him. Again, don't know what this is about, I don't even know if it mentions crabs. In the UK, a man once received an antisocial behavioural order because his neighbours reported him attaching fishing lines to crabs and fireworks. He'd use a small inflatable boat to wait underneath piers as children would be crabbing. He'd cut the lines as they pulled up the crab, collect them in a bucket, and return to the pier later that night to light rockets that would be used to dismember the crabs. The only positive outcome of this scenario was the newspaper article that branded him the fish dick. Which is actually quite a lot to do with crabs, isn't it? So there he is, catching his crabs to tie fireworks to them. It's not the only time I've mentioned crabs. I've gone into crabs in this one as well. This was the first book I written just to piss off my uni teachers because they wouldn't let me cut up rats in class no more. So this is a load of big words, I don't know what they mean. Anadiplosis, a six-legged deep-sea creature encased in an hard shell. For example, due to the increase in radiation of the South Pacific, it's theorised the arthropod populations of the seafloor have grown exponentially, with the anadiplosis reaching sizes matching that of an estate car. And there's your anadiplosis there, big fuck-off crab monster. So there's stuff about what I do. Apparently you're working on I don't know what you would call it. Is it a comic? It does say it's you know, they've given me a couple of notes. So I'll break the fourth wall for you. A comic book about the Grim Reaper. But is it you know, maybe are you hoping that it's going to be like whatever Watchmen was considered? Like the Watchmen wasn't a comic, wasn't it? It was like a book of it all bundled together, and I can't remember the specific word for it. But why the Grim? I would like to know why the Grim Reaper in a way, because there's all sorts of interesting stuff about the Grim Reaper, isn't there? Like Kronos and that. Wasn't it Kronos who the Grim Reaper gets based off of death? And didn't he shag his mum and lose an arm inside of her or something like that? I think I covered this in a podcast episode a few years ago. It rings a bell, something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. They also say you're getting a tattoo as well. I've got a couple of notes on the side in it just to make sure I get everything in for you. Apparently you might be getting a tattoo and you're moving out to go to uni, which is around the time I moved away from home properly, about 20. But when I was 18, I moved away to go and live in a porter cabin for a couple of years on college grounds, which was great, but cold and very loud at night time when it rained. It was kind of nice living in a house. I hope that you do better than me though, mate, because I didn't pay much attention at uni, and that, I'll be dead honest with you. Even to simple things like term times. I ended up spending my 21st birthday alone, about 300 miles away from my house with no one around, which was a pretty shit birthday, and hopefully yours is better than that. Not to make this about me, mate, this is your day, innit? I haven't got much else to say about crabs, bro. I don't know much else about crabs, so I'll be dead honest with you. I think it's weird that they have to walk sideways. I do think that's weird, and I think it's mad when you watch things like David Attenborough programmes and you watch thousands of them walking sideways. Because I always wonder, do you reckon there's the odd one that walks forwards and they all just gang up on it like they do in human life? You know, when someone starts to act a little bit differently to everybody else, they get bullied out of it. And then there's a crab where it's walking forwards but its joints are fucking killing it because it's evolved to be able to walk in a straight line just as a genetic mutation. But in reality it's supposed to walk sideways, so it pretends it is walking sideways, but it's just hurting it. Like how it must hurt the other crabs to be able to walk forwards if they was to walk forwards. Maybe all the other crabs just get jealous of that crab the way. I mean, that's besides the point anyway. I'm rambling at this point, innit? I've lost myself, mate. Fucking happy birthday, man. So I was a bit rambly towards the end. Maybe not a good ramble, maybe a bad ramble. But like I said, in that was only my second recording. Like the second ever cameo that I did. So the guy, whoever got them that, I don't know if it was their dad or not, or the mum, I've not got a clue. But they were right on it, mate, soon, you know, within a couple of days of me putting the advert out about them. So the next one that we've got is a pretty good one, and there's a fair bit of backstory to it. they were quite good spots. They came in the live stream I was doing just after I sent it out, and they were quite happy with it. And it's public on the Cameo page. But I will blank a little couple bits out, I think. But so they wanted me to rate how his mum, Dirty Debs in brackets, looks as a brand on his hat, because he's got a baseball cap with a picture of this lad's mum, and on the back it says in pink writing Dirty Debs. And then he wanted me to say how much she'd be worth an hour if she were a sex worker, rate how this fella who it's about looks as a wrestler, and what the chances of him going pro would be. And that he also thinks random girls don't stop looking at him, and he proper thinks he's irresistible to women. He's not wrestled because he said he's broke his jaw and neck and back, and he needs to recover. He works at a gin place, and once said that Lionel Messi was going in to make gin, and it was top secret. And he once said he went to Barcelona for a school trip and went to the football stadium and scored a goal from one net to the other. He talks a lot of shit. Now that's what we got, and we all know someone like that, innit? I assume for some of the people I've known, I'm probably that guy. Do you know what I mean? We covered a thing like this on Truth Seeking. The episode was called The List. It's like episode 10, 12, somewhere around there, I think. It's an episode called The List, and it's about a lad that we were calling Chuck. It was a list of various lies some bloke had told at his workplace that we got our hands on. Now this one's long. This one's about 9 minutes, so it's going to be the last one of the episode. And don't forget, if you want one, cameo.com/worldaroundyou. But here's the one for... I am going to blur out some of the names in this. I will edit them out. So here you go. Let's see what you think of this, mate. And before we get going, the start of it seems a bit weird, but I'm parodying the video that I got sent of this lad. So just so that helps set a bit of make it make sense to people that don't have a clue what's going on, I suppose. Anyway, now here you go. Well, I can tell you, it is an absolute honour to be a part of this cameo for Tig Biddy Dave from Tig Biddy Dave's Mate. Now, there's a part of me, right, that's thinking maybe Tig Biddy Dave's Mate might not be your friend, Harry. And there's a part of me thinking maybe Tig Biddy Dave's Mate is a fellow competitor in the Northern Wrestling Federation. I can't remember. They did send me a clip, and there's a lot happens in that clip where you're like, giving it the big one with the big lad, who name has already escaped me. I want to say Neil, but it might not be Neil. I can't remember. But they've given me a fair bit to go off me here, so They wanted me to, they've put your mum, they've said your mum's called Dirty Debs, and they've put them on a baseball cap, put her on a baseball cap and a little love art on the front above the beak of the hat, and on the back it says Dirty Debs in pink writing. It's a very fucking well-made hat, mate. Very well-made hat. I imagine Debs is pretty proud of that. If she knows, she should know. They want to know how much they put, and how much she'd be worth an hour if she were a sex worker. And she's obviously, she's a pretty lady, so I think she'd do quite well. I imagine she'd be a sort of classy act, though. She's not going to be hanging around in, industrial estates and that, and being like, leaning in the car window. I imagine she'd be the sort of lady you'd have to book. Do you know what I mean? She's, she looks like she'd be quite a nice person. Do you know what I mean? So it's very hard to actually stand there and say, fucking, I bet she'd get 150 an hour. Do you know what I mean? But she probably would do alright, innit? So, pass on me regards. I don't know, man. This is one of the harshest ones of these I've had so far. We got, they want me to rate how you look as a wrestler. And I think you need to go for more of like a flashier approach, innit? Rather than going for the video they sent me. Harry Underwood, and I'm gonna get it one sec. I'm gonna get it up, which I imagine your mum is as well. Then again, she probably doesn't, I don't think they'd struggle in it. Tig Biddy Dave and Gary the Plant finally meet was the video. Now Gary the Plant looks like a beast of a man, but he even like his thing in that video, right? Dave, he comes across much more intimidating than you do. Mostly because of the setting that he's chose to record his segment of the video, where it looks like he's broken into someone's shed who has what looks like bomb-making chemicals on the back wall. Which, that's a much more way to go. You want to be more intimidating. Can I suggest in your next one, if you're still doing this, in your next one with your competitor, you should take Biddy Dave's mate's guidance here, using pictures of what's supposed to be your mother, and put pictures of your next competitor's family in the back, you know, cousins, distant cousins, aunties, uncles, all of them, mate, just different pictures of family members you can get off of Facebook, pop them on the back wall, and then you sit there, proper calm, leg up like that, and just maybe in like a blazer, right, maybe with a little tear in it as well so you don't look too posh, just sit like that, casually speak to the camera with all these pictures of his family behind him like that, you know, but with no pictures of him in the background, you know. That would be my tip on how to improve that intimidation tactic there. I don't know much about wrestling. I understand that my only thing I know about wrestling is that it's scripted to a degree. So you know, maybe get involved with different leagues or something. I don't know. I don't know how to tell you to look better in your wrestling, man. I really don't. Maybe you look good for a wrestler. Maybe you don't. I'm not sure. Grow your hair, mate. Grow your hair down a little bit. Have it a little bit unkempt and that, so you can get the sort of like that sort of a different look going on, rather than just the sort of a shorter hairdo, you know. Not that I think everyone should have long hair. I mean, I do, because I have long hair. But, you know, mine comes down to like here, like a lady, you know. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying, you know, fucking grow a bit of hair out, mate. Look a bit mental, you know what I mean? Go for the fucking full-on crazy look. Grow your hair, get it cut in a sort of bowl cut, right, but long, so it sort of just looks, you just look unhinged, mate. That's what you want to do. You want to look unhinged, and then for the duration of the video, you don't want to blink. You just want to keep staring down the camera without blinking. And then if you do blink, just edit it out and keep learning the thing you're going to be saying, you know, and just never blink, staring down the camera lens of the camera. Come across as mental, mate. And as I say, with the pictures of the people's family. And even if you start slowly like stripping off, like take off have loads of layers of clothes on, and each one has a different picture of the family on, and then you can turn around like that and have a different picture of the family on the back, take one from the wall and be like, this is what I'm going to do to you, like that, and rip the paper in half, you know, with a picture of like the little brother on or something. I don't know, maybe it'd be a bit weird if it was the kid versions of the family. Kid members of the family. So maybe just all the older ones, or just loads of pictures of their nan and granddad, you know, even if you're taking them yourself, which may be illegal, so probably don't do that. I've also got here, apparently you think random girls don't stop looking at him, don't stop looking at you. Now, that I do experience people staring at me now, right, and I'm a very paranoid guy, so maybe you're very paranoid as well. Also, what tends to happen is if you're staring at people, they will stare back at you. And if you're sat there doing something weird, you know, so maybe you sat there doing strange things. Maybe you sit there going like this. Just to help you listening, I'm rolling my tongue around my teeth and visibly. Like you've just discovered a Tootsie Roll. Doing it a bit more. Or maybe a blackjack. Even more aggressively now, I think, at this point. But it's in between your teeth rather than just at it, you know. Maybe you sit there doing stuff like that, then they will stare at you, innit? They'll be like, who's that guy over there fucking licking his teeth at me, you know. What else have we got? The next bit gets a bit confusing. It's like the guy typing it's got a bit excited because he's not wrestled on She's because he said he's broke his jaw and neck and back and needs to recover. Mate, if you have broken your jaw, neck and back, the last thing you need to be doing is getting into wrestling. Take up fishing, bro. Pool, snooker. Even snooker might be a bit strenuous if you've really broken your neck, jaw and back. Wrestling's not going to be the shout, mate. Take up a spot of fishing, mate. That's what you want to do. I'd recommend a bit of fishing. That's competitive and that's actually a real competition. Do you know what I mean? Whereas wrestling seems to be scripted and whoever likes people the most gets to win. Well, whoever's liked the most by people. This has gone on a bit long, this. You work at a gin distillery. Fucking getting about with the berries and that. You once met you met Lionel Messi once, who I believe is a footballer. I'm not really into sports in it. I do like fishing though, and darts and snooker, which is why I'm suggesting you should get into that. You know, again, it's all about me, mate. It was top secret, but you told people about it, man. That's not good in business. That you'll lose your job at the distillery. You went to Barcelona for a school trip and went to the football stadium and scored a goal from one net to the other. Was there a goalkeeper there, though? Because I imagine if you've got a good strong kick, which I imagine as a wrestler, a semi-professional wrestler or professional wrestler, you must have some strong legs on you. But even then, as a child, to be able to boot the ball, like hoof the ball from one end of a football pitch, professional like football pitch to the other end, that's got to be hard, that, mate. That is hard. Do you know what, mate? Do you know what? You kind of remind me of someone that we did an episode of Truth Seeking about called Chuck. There's an element of these various stories here, and I recommend listening to Truth Seeking episode called The List, and then see what you think of that, see what you think of the guy we're talking about there. Same for you, Biddy Dave's mate, and all, if you're watching this. Don't know if this was much of a roast, but you know, it's been fucking long, so I'll fucking see you in a bit, mate. Good luck in your next competition. Biddy Dave. Seamless editing there, wasn't it, mate? Seamless. Obviously the guy wasn't actually called Biddy Dave, and his mate's obviously not Biddy Dave's mate. And Gary the Plant isn't actually called Gary the Plant, but I didn't want to, you know, they want to be, you know, leave them to it, you know. I don't want to cause people problems, but they've paid for this and it's public on the Cameo page anyway, but, you know. Anyway, I think that's where we'll leave this one. This got on probably a bit longer than the others, because that last one there went on for a while. Again, I'm hoping you've enjoyed these. If you've listened to it all the way through, I'm guessing you've got something out of it. Maybe you've laughed here and there. Maybe you've thought to yourself, I want a Cameo. I'm going to go take myself to cameo.com/worldaroundyou and order one. Maybe you've thought, I'd never want one of these. Maybe by releasing these week after week, all I've done is hinder me chances of getting anybody to order a Cameo. But I would like it if you start ordering them just being like, fucking ramble at me, mate, just make it weird. You know, just give me something that's just, do a video where you're just going to say weird shit to me nan, so we can all sit around the table and watch me nan just recoil in disgust at the stuff you're talking about. That'd be fucking well good, mate. I'd really enjoy that. But most people probably aren't going to do that, which is fine, you know. There might be one or two of you that fancy giving that a go, ruining, you know, maybe a Christmas dinner or something when the family's round or whatever like that. I don't know, you know, but if it's too much, I won't go that far, you know. I'm not going to go overboard with it, not go too far. But again, cameo.com/worldaroundyou, there'll be a link below. Also, if you want more bonus podcasts, like these are like a bonus podcast in a way, but nothing like what I put on Patreon. So on Patreon, I've been reading an old book called World's Strangest Crimes and sort of commenting on it. It's a book from the 1960s or 1950s. Sounds kind of boring. It is kind of a boring book. I try and liven it up a bit. But it's interesting stuff. It's just poorly written. And there's the daily updates on there, so you get fucking, I don't know, a good few minutes a week of extra content, plus these daily vlogs, discount codes for my website for merch, you get canvases cheaper, and all my Patreon subscribers, whenever there's going to be a new rat pencil case released, I send a message out on Patreon to my current Patreon subscribers to tell them that it's going to be listed and what time it's going to be listed. So patreon.com/worldaroundyou if you want to give that a go. Anyway, leave a rating on the show and please listen to the adverts on these, because that's how the podcast can make me a little bit of money, mate. I'll fucking see you in a bit, man.